What's up, guys? Albert Down back with another video. And in this video, we're going to be going over 6 billionaires that use debt to get rich and how you can too toward the end of the video. I'll be going over a strategic way that you guys can do the same exact thing. All right, guys, let's get straight into the video. So the first billionaire we have on the list here is none other than Elon Musk himself. In my opinion, one of the most liked billionaires that I've seen recently. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments, if you guys think he's actually one of the most liked billionaires or not. But anyways, let's get into it. So here, as you guys can see, he invested into Tesla, SpaceX. Of course, he had other businesses prior. So for Tesla debt in 2009, Tesla took a $465 million loan from the U.S. Debt Department of Energy to help develop its electric vehicle technology. In 2014, the company also raised over $2 billion through debt and equity. So when it comes to the U.S. Department of Energy, I'm assuming he got this through government contracts. And of course, he probably got leverage and debt with banks as well. But since he's in the energy sector, I'm assuming that he also got help with government contracts as well and got funding directly from the government. Here we see SpaceX debt. SpaceX has relied on both private funding and debt financing. Although specifics on debt amounts are not fully disclosed, SpaceX raised over $1 billion in various forms of financing, including loans and convertible debt to fund its ambitious space programs. How Musk benefited: Musk's strategy was leveraging debt to fund high-risk, high-reward ventures, allowing him to control his companies without giving up significant ownership. So these are some ways Elon leveraged debt to invest into Tesla, SpaceX. Now let's get into the second person on the list. Here we have none other than Trump himself, the one who recently won the election. And here is how Trump leveraged debt. So how he did it: Donald Trump built much of his fortune in real estate, frequently using debt as leverage to acquire large properties. The key to Trump's success was using other people's money, OPM, something I go over a lot on this channel. If you guys still haven't checked out my other videos, check them out. I have a bunch of videos showing you guys how you guys could go to specific banks to get funding, other people's money to invest back into yourself, back into your businesses. So the key to Trump's success was using other people's money, specifically banks and investors' capital, to finance major real estate deals. Debt amount: Trump borrowed hundreds of millions of dollars over the years. For example, his acquisition of the Trump Tower in Manhattan involved taking on large mortgage and using the building itself as collateral. So that sounds like more of like a securities-based line of credit, since he used something, a security, which in this example was the building, as collateral. In the 1980s and 1990s, Trump took out substantial loans to finance a portfolio of high-profile properties, including hotels, casinos, and office buildings. The total amount of debt accumulated by Trump over time is estimated to be over $3 billion at its peak. So Trump at one point had $3 billion of debt. How Trump benefited: Trump's approach was to use debt to fund large-scale, high-profile real estate developments, which appreciated in value over time. By leveraging other people's money, he was able to magnify his return on investment. So if you guys are curious about other people's money, OPM, some really good books I recommend on this subject are Robert Kiyosaki's books. His obviously Rich Dad Poor Dad, that's his most famous one. But another very good practical one he has is the Cash Flow Quadrant, which he goes over the 4 sectors of income that you want to go into. And he goes over other people's money and stuff like that as well. And it's a really, really amazing book. If you guys still haven't checked that out, I recommend you guys check that one out. All right, so third person on the list, Richard Branson, Virgin Group. So Richard Branson's a very, very controversial figure, and he had plenty of businesses, and this is how he funded them. So how he did it: Richard Branson's success is rooted in his ability to use debt to finance the expansion of his Virgin Group, especially in the early years. He frequently relied on loans and credit to fund new ventures in diverse industries, from music to airlines to space travel. Debt amount: in 2000, Branson borrowed a significant amount of money to keep his airline Virgin Atlantic afloat. The total debt at one point was reported to be around $1 billion. about 1.5 billion, mostly for airline and infrastructure development. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, Branson used loans to expand his airline business and purchase assets such as the Virgin Records music label. How Branson benefited: Branson was able to finance a rapid expansion and take risks in several industries simultaneously. His strategy of using debt to finance Virgin's diversification paid off as many of his ventures turned profitable. So when you guys see these billionaires leveraging debt, as you guys can see, they're leveraging good debt to invest into assets. So if you guys watch my YouTube channel and my other videos, I'm a big proponent and big fan of leveraging good debt and a specific amount of debt. So you don't over leverage or under leverage. You want the specific debt ratio, which is what I go over more in my program. If you guys are curious in the program and how to get 0% funding and all that, you guys could feel free to book a call below. But yeah, that's basically what I teach on this channel. And the message I want to give away to you guys is to leverage a good debt to build assets and invest into your income and cash flow. You guys don't want to use debt for stuff that will not bring back a positive ROI. All right, let's get back into the video. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, oh yeah, I covered that already. How Branson benefited: Branson was able to finance rapid expansion and take risks in several industries simultaneously. Strategy used to finance Virgin's diversification paid off as many of his ventures turned profitable. All right, guys, let's get into the next person on the list. None other than Warren Buffett himself, and he leveraged debt to invest into Berkshire Hathaway. So how he did it: while Buffett is typically conservative with debt in his personal investments, he has leveraged significant debt through Berkshire Hathaway for acquisitions. In particular, Buffett's use of float money held by Berkshire's insurance businesses enabled him to finance investments without tapping into traditional forms of debt. Another very, very big strength and positive reason why you guys should use debt is that debt could also help you guys with taxes and save on taxes. This isn't financial advice, so make sure you guys confirm with your accountant before you guys make any financial decisions. So debt amount: in 2008, Berkshire borrowed $5 billion from Goldman Sachs in the form of a loan that was converted into equity. This deal helped Buffett profit handsomely when the market recovered. Buffett also used significant leverage in purchasing companies. For instance, when acquiring Dairy Queen or NetJets, he often relied on low-cost debt financing and his company's strong cash flow to repay loans. How Buffett benefited: I mean, we can see how he benefited. He's one of the richest people in the world. Buffett's use of debt allowed Berkshire Hathaway to make large strategic acquisitions without having to sell equity or give up control. The cost of debt was often cheaper than issuing new shares, enhancing overall returns. So usually in this industry, they usually call that the spread. So you guys usually want to see how much you guys are going to get of an ROI on whatever investment you guys are going into, and then do the math on the interest you're going to pay on whatever loan that you guys are getting or line of credit. And obviously, if the math checks out, then of course it would make sense to get the debt and the leverage. Next on the list, Jeff Bezos, none other than the founder of Amazon himself. How he did it: in the early days of Amazon, Jeff Bezos was able to leverage debt to fund the company's rapid growth, especially as Amazon expanded beyond books into broader into an e-commerce platform. Debt amount: in the late 1900s and early 2000s, Amazon took on a significant amount of debt to finance its operations. For example, Amazon raised $2 billion through debt offerings in 2002, at a time when it was not yet even profitable. In 2000, Bezos raised $1 billion raised $1 billion in debt financing for Amazon, which was crucial in allowing the company to scale rapidly, expand its inventory, and build infrastructure. How Bezos benefited: by taking on debt, Bezos was able to invest into Amazon's technology, infrastructure, logistics, and global expansion without waiting for profitability. His strategy of reinvesting all profits into growth eventually turned Amazon into a global powerhouse. Last but not least on the list, Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone leveraged debt to invest into his company 10X and real estate. How he did it: Grant Cardone, a real estate investor and entrepreneur, built his fortune by leveraging debt to acquire large multi-family apartment complexes. His strategy involves using other people's money, OPM, through syndication and taking out high amounts of debt to purchase income generating properties. First deal, 1991. Cardone borrowed money to buy his first apartment complex in Houston. Syndication. He raised capital from investors to buy large properties while using 70 to 80% debt financing loans for the rest of the purchase price. Scaling. Cardone acquired over $4 billion in real estate assets by using 50 to 100 million in debt for each deal, allowing him to rapidly expand his portfolio of over 8,000 apartment units. Debt example. In 2017 deal, he used 75 million in debt to acquire a 100 million apartment portfolio, raising the remaining equity from investors. So the way he does this is he has a fund and he uses that fund to raise money from investors that they all pool in together, and he buys real estate with that fund, which is basically another form of leverage, is having a fund, leverage debt. How he benefited. He benefited through cash flow and appreciation. Rental income from properties helped service the debt while the properties appreciated, growing his overall net worth. Rapid expansion. Debt allowed Cardone to scale quickly, controlling more properties than he could with his own money. Summary. Cardone used debt to amplify his investments, acquiring large real estate assets without needing to fund everything himself. By raising capital from investors and securing loans, he grew a multi-billion-dollar real estate empire. So as you guys can see here, all these 6 billionaires definitely have something in common, which is leveraging debt to grow their income. And now here's a practical way you guys can do something similar. It's something that I coined, a term I coined called the credit portfolio, which is basically the same way you would view an investment portfolio. We want to view a credit portfolio the same way and keep reinvesting into our credit, scale out our credit on the personal and business credit side, and then use the business credit side to reinvest back into assets like real estate, businesses, and stuff like that. So the first thing you guys would want to do to build your credit portfolio is to optimize your personal credit report. You guys don't want too many inquiries, don't want any negative accounts, and you guys want at least a 700 plus credit score or higher. So if you guys don't have any of those, make sure you guys do whatever it takes in order to get those. The second thing is you want to structure your LLC or corporation properly for funding and make sure that it's perceived as low risk by the banks. The third thing is build banking relationships with the proper banks. Here I put properly, whatever. Build relationships with banks that will give you funding, and do this strategically, and build them before you actually need them. A lot of times I see people, they want funding and they want to do everything so fast and they just rush into stuff. You want to plan this out 6 months to a year before you actually need it. Build out the relationships and view this as a long-term investment. Your credit portfolio is one of the biggest assets you have. As you guys can see, all these billionaires leverage debt. So you guys want to invest into your credit, scale your credit portfolio on the personal and business credit side, and then leverage that in order to get funding and build out your relationships as well. These days, a lot of banks want you guys to have a relationship with them before they give you any kind of funding. So make sure you guys are opening up accounts and you guys have multiple banking relationships, not just one, multiple banking relationships. That way you guys always have somewhere you guys could go to get funding. In our program, we guys show you exactly in a sequential order what bank to start off with in your exact area and the exact order to go in with what cards to get, what business lines of credit to get, and just the overall sequence. Number 4 on the list to build your credit portfolio is know your optimal debt ratio. So there's certain people that are completely under leveraged when it comes to having credit and debt, and then there's over leveraged. My goal with our program is for you guys to have the exact debt ratio, which is a certain percentage specific for every individual person. And it's a general framework that you don't want to go over or under, and use the debt ratio to get the specific amount of debt that you can use and handle for your specific situation. Number 5 on the list, apply for business funding. This could be through business credit cards, business lines of credit, loans, securities-based lines of credit, etc. 6, scale your portfolio. You guys always want to reinvest back into your personal credit profile, your business credit profile, get higher and higher limits on the personal side, because there's something called comparable credit. And comparable credit is when banks look at what you could currently handle on the personal side, and that reflects what they will give you on the business side. So you guys want to always make sure you guys are building up the personal side as well in a strategic way that doesn't hold you back from getting funding on the business side. So there's a specific way you guys want to do this. And last but not least, number 7, you guys rinse and repeat the process and just keep doing this. And every time you guys start a new LLC or corporation, you guys have everything structured the exact proper way in order to maximize the amount of funding you get per LLC and corporation. All right, guys, I hope that was a helpful video. If you guys want to work with me one-on-one to scale your credit portfolio, something nobody else I've ever seen talk about online, and want to get help with me one-on-one, you guys can click the link below to book a call, and I'll help you scale your credit portfolio and maximize the amount of funding you get. All right, guys, I'll see you guys here on the next video.